When you think you own everything, you have nothing. Buddhist non-possession. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Ownership. The Trap of Having. Many people live with the idea, I am what I have. A job title, a home, a relationship, a number of followers online. These become parts of their identity. But the Buddha reminded us, nothing in this world truly belongs to us. Not our things, not other people, not even our emotions. Still, we keep holding on. We believe that owning more will make us feel safe, respected, or loved. We say my time, my success, my happiness, even my sadness. But when we hold too tightly, life begins to feel small, heavy, hard to breathe. Psychologists call this attachment of identity. We don't just use our phones or wear certain clothes. We feel they are part of who we are. When someone criticizes what we wear or says our post isn't interesting, it can feel like a personal attack. Not because it matters deeply, but because we've attached our self-worth to those things. This is why losing something simple can feel like losing a part of ourselves. But if we look closely, nothing we own is ever permanent. Clothes wear out, phones break, jobs change, and people, even the ones we love, grow, change, or leave. If our peace depends on holding them, then peace can never last. On social media, this illusion grows stronger. We try not just to share, but to win attention. Every like feels like a small proof that we matter. But the Buddha taught that craving leads to suffering. The more we want to be seen, the more invisible we feel when we are not. And when attention fades, as it always does, it leaves behind emptiness. This habit of owning shows up in love too. Sometimes, when we say, I love you, we are really saying, I need you to make me feel good. Love becomes a way to control instead of support. But the Buddha reminded us, true love gives space. It doesn't grip or hold. It doesn't turn people into possessions. It lets them be free. Modern psychology has a word for this: unhealthy attachment. It happens in all kinds of relationships, with friends, partners, even children. We often want people to stay close, but only in ways we feel safe with. When they change or act differently, we feel pain. But the question is, were they ever really ours? Even our emotions become something we try to possess. My anger, my anxiety, my story. We replay them again and again in our minds, as if holding them gives us control. But the Buddha taught that emotions are like weather. They appear, stay for a while, and then pass. We don't need to hold or chase them. Just notice, then let them go. Still, the urge for more keeps pulling us. More joy, more comfort, more meaning. Psychology has a name for this: the hedonic treadmill. We get something new, and for a moment, we feel happy. But soon, it fades. Then we want more again, and again. Like drinking salty water, it never really satisfies. And when we finally get what we want, another feeling shows up: fear. Fear of losing it. So we protect, we compare, we worry, and the more we hold, the more we carry. It's like walking through life with a heavy bag, full of things that were never meant to stay. The Buddha taught that real peace doesn't come from gaining more. It comes from needing less. It comes from seeing clearly that nothing in this world can truly be owned. Not even our own story. So maybe it's time to ask, what am I holding on to? A role, a feeling, an idea of who I should be. And maybe, just maybe, what we think we own was never really ours to begin with. Chapter 2. You possess nothing, not even you. There's a moment in life when we pause, not because we want to, but because we have to. Something breaks, or someone leaves, or we simply get tired. And in that pause, a strange question slips in, quiet but sharp. What is really mine? We try to answer it by looking around. We count our savings, our memories, our titles, the people who stay with us, and the roles we play every day. But then, deeper than all that, comes another question, one we often avoid. What is me, really? According to the Buddha's teaching, there is no fixed self we can truly own. He taught that what we call I is just a collection of changing things. The body, feelings, thoughts, memories, and habits. These parts come and go. They rise and fall like waves, never stopping, never staying. What we think is stable, our personality, our identity, is more like a dance of causes and conditions. When those causes change, so do we. Modern science agrees in surprising ways. Neuroscience has searched for a self inside the brain. A center that controls everything, a little me sitting at the controls. But they haven't found one. Instead, the brain is a network. It's full of systems working together, sensing, deciding, remembering. No one part says, I am you. It's all process, no person. So, if the Buddha and science both point to the same thing, that I is not a fixed thing, then who is the one feeling afraid of losing things? Who gets jealous? Who wants to feel important? It's a habit. A deep habit of clinging to something we think is solid. And this habit shapes how we relate to everything. Our jobs, our relationships, even our own emotions. If we believe in a permanent me, we start defending that me all the time. We try to protect it, impress others, fix its flaws, prove its worth, and we suffer. Western philosophy offers another view. Some thinkers say, you are what you do. You are what you make. They focus on the individual creating meaning through effort. And that can feel empowering. Until we burn out. Until we wonder who we are without our work, or when we stop being useful. But the Buddha reminded us of something else. He taught that peace doesn't come from building a stronger identity. It comes from releasing the idea that you need one. Letting go of me is not about becoming empty or lost. It's about becoming light. It's like loosening a knot that has been pulling you tight for too long. In the Pali texts, there's a word, anatta, not self. It doesn't mean you don't exist. It means you don't exist in the way you think. Your name, your story, your role. These are useful, but they're not the whole truth. They're like clothes. You wear them, but they are not your skin. And here's the beauty of this teaching. When you stop trying to be someone solid, you become free to be present. You can respond instead of react. You can love without fear of losing. You can rest because you're not holding up an identity all the time. This doesn't mean becoming passive or empty. In fact, it opens the door to deep compassion. Because when you see through the idea of a separate, fixed me, you start to see through the walls between yourself and others. You begin to sense that we are all part of the same unfolding, all temporary, all precious. So, ask yourself gently, what part of me am I holding too tightly? The idea of being strong, being liked, being right. None of these are bad, but none of them are really yours. When we begin to see this, not just as a thought but as a living truth, the weight we carry starts to soften. And as the idea of me fades, so does the fear that comes with it. Because what can truly be taken away when there is nothing to possess? The Buddha taught that seeing this clearly is not the end. It's the beginning. The beginning of a quieter mind, a softer heart, and a deeper freedom. Chapter 3. Clinging is the seed of suffering. So, we've talked about how we don't really own things, and how even the idea of me isn't solid. If that's true, then why do we still feel so much pain? Why does life feel heavy? The Buddha taught that the real reason for our suffering is something called tanha. This is a powerful word in the old language, and it means craving or thirst. Imagine you are very, very thirsty and you feel a strong, urgent need to drink. Tanha is like that, but for things we think will make us happy or feel complete. We suffer because we keep trying to hold on to things that are always changing. We crave things because we think they will make the me happy and safe. The Buddha pointed to 3 main kinds of craving that cause us pain. The first is craving for pleasant things. This is the simple wanting of things that feel good to our body and mind. We want tasty food, comfortable clothes, fun experiences, beautiful sights and sounds. There is nothing wrong with enjoying these things, but when we crave them, when we feel we must have them to be happy and we suffer when they are gone or not there, that is tanha. The second is craving to be something. This is the wanting to be a certain person, to have a strong identity, to feel important, successful, or special. We crave to exist in a particular way, to be recognized, to have status. We want to build up the idea of me and make it permanent and great. But as we saw, the me is always changing. So trying to hold on to a fixed idea of who we are, or who we want to be, creates tension and fear. And the third is craving not to feel pain or discomfort. This is the wanting for difficult feelings, sickness, problems, or anything unpleasant to stop and go away immediately. We crave to escape from difficult situations or emotions. But life naturally includes pain and discomfort. When we fight against this truth by craving for it to be different, we create more suffering for ourselves. Why do these cravings hurt us? Because, as the Buddha taught, nothing lasts forever. Everything is impermanent. Pleasant feelings fade, identities change, difficult times pass, but sometimes not as quickly as we want. When our deep craving is for things to be permanent, solid, and exactly as we want them, but reality is always moving and changing, this difference causes pain. It's like trying to tie down a flowing river. This constant craving and wanting makes us feel heavy. It's like we are carrying too much weight. Think about it. Some people keep too many physical things. Their houses are full, maybe messy. It feels heavy just to look at. But even heavier are the things we keep inside our minds and hearts. We can keep old anger for years, like carrying a hot rock. We can keep regret or sadness from the past, replaying it again and again. We can keep fear about the future, like carrying a bag packed with worries everywhere we go. These things, this anger, regret, fear, and the craving that feeds them, they fill up our inner space. They take all the room in our minds, and when our mind is completely full of these heavy things, there is no space left for peace, for joy, or for just being quiet and present. We feel weighed down, tired, and stuck in our own thoughts and feelings. So, is there a different way to live? Can we respond to life's changes and challenges without all this heavy carrying? Some wise people, like the ancient Greek thinkers called the Stoics, taught us to accept the things we cannot control. This is a powerful idea. It helps us find calm when life is difficult. But the Buddha's teaching goes even deeper. It's not just about accepting what happens outside us. It's about seeing the truth of how things are, that everything changes, that nothing is truly mine, that even I am not fixed, and letting go from the inside. It's not just learning to stand calmly with the heavy bag. It's realizing you don't need to hold the bag at all. It's opening your hands completely. Freedom, in this deep sense, is not just being calm when things are bad. It means not holding on to the craving, the fear, or the old pain that makes you heavy. It means not needing to hold anything inside you that blocks the natural state of peace. When our hands are full of wanting, full of fear, full of old stories, we cannot receive anything new or beautiful that life offers. We cannot receive the simple peace that is already here, waiting. But when we begin to let go, when we soften our grip, open our hands, and make space inside, something light and peaceful begins to appear in that empty space. Chapter 4. The Joy of Having Nothing. At first glance, the idea of having nothing might seem uncomfortable, even frightening. In a world that constantly pushes us to acquire more money, more possessions, more recognition, the notion of living with less can appear strange, even counterproductive. But what if, in reality, having less could lead to having more? What if the key to true freedom lies not in what we hold, but in what we release? In Buddhism, monks live with almost nothing. They do not possess land, wealth, or personal belongings. Their lives are stripped down to the essentials: food, clothing, shelter, and the pursuit of wisdom. Yet in this simplicity, they are rich, not in material terms, but in peace, contentment, and freedom. The Buddha himself lived this way. He showed us that by letting go of the need to possess, we open ourselves to something far more profound. This is the essence of the Buddhist teaching of apicchata, knowing what is enough. It's not about deprivation, it's about discovering that having less often leads to experiencing life more deeply. In the modern world, this lesson might seem counterintuitive. We are told that more is better, that success is measured by what we own and what we achieve. Yet there are many who, after acquiring wealth, fame, and status, still feel empty. It's because the more we hold, the more we feel we must protect. The heavier our possessions, the harder it is to feel light, peaceful, and free. True freedom doesn't come from owning more, but from realizing that we never truly owned anything in the first place. True love also teaches us the power of letting go. In Buddhism, love is not about ownership or control. It's about metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion, mudita, sympathetic joy, and upekkha, equanimity, qualities that offer space rather than demand control. Love that holds tightly, that demands possession or tries to control others, is not love at all. Real love, the kind that frees both ourselves and others, is based on the willingness to let go. When we cling, we create chains. When we release, we create freedom. This kind of love allows both parties to grow, to be themselves, and to live without fear of losing each other. Buddhist teachings tell us that when we hold nothing, we can hold everything. This does not mean we lose ourselves or our values. Instead, it means that by letting go of our attachments to the idea of self, we can truly experience the world in all its vastness. When we hold on too tightly to our concept of who we are, our identity, our possessions, our relationships, we limit our capacity for growth, for peace, and for understanding. But when we let go of the need to protect, to control, to possess, we become open to everything that life offers. We no longer live in constant fear of losing what we have because we recognize that everything is impermanent. We live in the present moment, fully aware, fully alive, and fully free. This is the paradox of liberation. When we stop trying to hold on to life, life itself can hold us. It's only by letting go of our grip on what we think we own that we truly come to understand that we never owned anything at all. Freedom, peace, love, and joy, these are not things we can possess. They are gifts that arise when we stop holding on so tightly. As we go through our daily lives, it's easy to forget how much we are holding on to. We cling to our routines, our expectations, our fears, and our desires. But in every moment, we have the chance to release a little bit of that weight. By simply acknowledging that we don't own anything, not our thoughts, not our feelings, not even our identity, we make space for true freedom. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means creating space for something more profound to enter our lives. It means allowing the peace that is already within us to arise naturally, without the blockages of fear, desire, or attachment. When we stop chasing after life, we begin to experience life fully and without restraint. The joy of having nothing is not about losing, but about gaining something far greater than material wealth, an inner freedom that can never be taken away. And so the paradox remains: to truly have everything, we must first let go of the need to own anything at all. Only then can we experience the boundless, ever-present joy of simply being.